Hi guys, I've been away for a long while. Last month I just skipped doing my vlog because I wasn't in the best place in terms of my health to make anything, even to eat. So basically this vlog is just to cover last month's vlog I skipped, and also this month, so 25 and 26 months post my transplant. So yeah, MS wise, I'm doing really well. I have been doing excellent, although my initial follow-up MRI will be later on, maybe 2.5 years post transplant, but I am still staying hopeful and believing that it is going to be stable for me, so that it will show that my MS really is in remission. I'm gonna say that if you are willing to hear about my MS and how I'm doing as of this time, post my transplant, like 2 years after, I advise you stop watching this video, because the rest of the video isn't going to be about MS and how I'm doing symptom wise. But if you are someone who is currently using antidepressants or benzodiazepines, like sedative medications, or someone who is possibly going to start taking such medications, or someone who is thinking or about to stop taking such medications after taking such medications for some certain period of time, I highly recommend you to keep watching, because the following is about to cover that subject and what has been troubling me for basically the past months, and what really has made me unable to do things, and really has caused me a lot of sadness, and a lot of anxiety, and a lot of health problems. So keep watching if you want to hear about that, but otherwise, if you're not interested, you can stop watching here, because my MS is really calm and stable, and I have no complaints, and I am really happy how things have. So yeah, I'm not sure if I remember correctly, but in the past videos I probably mentioned about weird symptoms I've been having that are not possibly related to MS, and some just sketchy symptoms that I've been just trying to figure out what they are. And until March I hadn't found the real cause of such symptoms, and even doctors couldn't tell me what was going on with me. I had stomach issues, nausea, dizziness that wasn't MS related, and all that very, very somehow debilitating symptoms. Well, actually, I had a like an episode of really bad symptoms already in just right before last Christmas, and I thought it was just a stomach bug. Okay. There was no vomiting, but it was really bad stomach cramps and such things. And then I thought, oh, I have some digestive issues and so on, and maybe another condition like IBS or something. And then I just went to the doctor, and nothing really led to a proper diagnosis, and then I just continued having those symptoms, although not as severe as in December, but those symptoms just kept coming, and they were just on and off, until This March, when in February I decided I'm going to quit taking my antidepressants. I'm taking a medicine called Cymbalta, duloxetine is the drug name, and I had been taking it for 4 years for my moderate depression and for my nerve pain caused by MS. Well, yeah, the drug had been working very well, and I had never questioned a possible side effects from that drug until now. But as I have been doing so well, MS-wise, no symptoms, no nerve pain, no mental issues. Of course, I have still some anxiety. I will always have some anxiety as the person I am. My personality is the way it is, and I am very prone to anxiety and panic attacks, but that is something probably that didn't want me to still continue taking medications, heavy medications for that, because there are other ways to counter personal issues and personality issues such anxiety and things, and anyhow other more healthy ways to combat and get rid of or get milder symptoms. Anyhow, yeah, I decided to start decreasing my dose as a based on doctors' recommendations to to decrease my dose over from 100% to 50%, and I thought it will be fine. I will then just stop taking the medicine. Well, I did it. I decreased the dose, no symptoms. No, at least nothing too significant. But then when I completely stopped taking the medicine, about a few days I thought, yeah, I'm free from the medicine I'd been taking for over 4 years, and I was finally drug free, and I was able to live, no symptoms, no MS symptoms, no depression, no nerve pain, no nothing. But then, few days later, after completely quitting taking the Cymbalta, I just suddenly, all of a sudden, of course, I had maybe some nausea some days prior to that. I started vomiting. I felt so sick to my stomach and so dizzy, I almost passed out. I just emptied my stomach, and I couldn't stand with my 2 feet. I couldn't stand up, I couldn't walk, and then since I couldn't, I felt so dizzy and vertigo, and I felt so horrible and terrified. I wasn't having a panic attack, but I was just so weak from the vomiting, and something very scary was happening to me. I didn't know what it was. So we called an ambulance that took me to the hospital, and then I stayed one night there in the ER department, where they just concluded I have a stomach bug. But I couldn't believe it, because I've been super careful with things, and nobody in my family or close to me has a stomach bug. Of course, stomach flu is everywhere. It's really easy to catch it wherever you go, wherever you are, how you live. But still, I was being very careful, and I just couldn't believe that I was having a stomach bug. Well, then the day after I was discharged, I wasn't feeling too good. They gave me sedatives, they gave me painkillers, because I was shivering. I've never experienced such bad stomach cramps and pain in my abdomen, and also nausea and the shivering. I was just shivering and having chills. I had mild fever and my white blood cells were slightly elevated, so they thought that they gave me the diagnosis of a stomach flu. Well, they discharged me. I was back at home. Then I think the pain medications were quite heavy and they just had to kick in, and a few days I felt better, but I was still nauseous and had some discomfort and dizziness and all that. And then I basically had lost my appetite and I was really struggling to eat, which has been a complete struggle for me the past years anyways, because I don't have much of an appetite and I really need to gain weight and just build muscle, but it's really hard when you don't want to eat. And that is something that has been causing me a lot of anxiety, and also mentally has been burdening and scary. Well, then later I just noticed, a few days later, I noticed that, and still I wasn't taking the antidepressant that I had stopped previously. And some days had passed, and then I just kept feeling worse and worse, and said, oh my god, is this stomach bug coming back, or whatever it was? And I just couldn't get rid of it, and I just started shivering again. My thigh muscles were twitching like crazy, and I just tried to force myself to eat and just tried to think that this will pass, and it never crossed my mind that it could be withdrawal symptom from the medicine that I had stopped. Then one day I just decided in the morning I have to go to the ER and see what's going on with me, because I was feeling I couldn't even sit straight. I was feeling the same symptoms again. I went in and they examined me. They did ECG, and my heart was fine because I was feeling heart palpitations, and that was obviously making me also dizzy and all these very, very uncomfortable symptoms and the nausea. And again, they asked me if I'm pregnant and all that regular stuff. I said no, and they couldn't find it. They even told me that I might be having some bad reaction to antibiotic treatment that I had a couple of weeks earlier, but I wasn't buying that, because those symptoms were pretty severe to be just from antibiotics, because I had been taking antibiotics multiple times in my life and never had such reaction. And those symptoms were way worse than any symptoms I had during my HSCT. For example, from the chemo. So I was sent back home, and I was devastated because I was in agony, and they didn't even give me anything to like ease the pain. I was just told take anti-nausea medications, as I've been taking and probably abusing, taking too much, like medication, nothing new natural, and just painkillers. I went back. Well, the next day it was during the night, I started crazily shivering. I was tachycardic. My heart rate was like off the roof. It was at least 130. I couldn't sleep. I was shivering and sweating, and I was hot, and my muscles were like twitching crazily. I had no control over those symptoms, and I had this incredible nausea. Of course, this time, luckily, I wasn't vomiting, but I was in so much pain and so much distress. And that moment I thought, I'm gonna die. This is unbelievable. What is happening to me? Then I had no other choice but call the ambulance again within 1 week. It took quite a long time for the ambulance to come, and I was really desperate. I didn't know what to do. Luckily, in the last minute they came, they took me in, they ran again ECG, and my heart rhythm was normal. Of course, I was tachycardic, and they didn't know why. I told them this could be definitely something to do with the medication I had stopped, something like very severe withdrawal symptoms, since I'm very sensitive to, well, basically any medicine, especially sedatives, painkillers, and such. And I stopped the panicky feeling for a bit, since they were asking questions, and I tried to be consistent and answering. And then they took me to the hospital, where I was luckily given a sedatives just to ease the cramps, because they were getting so heavy. I had no appetite whatsoever. I just tried to drink and keep my blood sugar levels somewhat stable, because whenever I get dehydrated during the night, or my blood sugar goes too low, or at least a bit lower, I'm very sensitive to such changes, and they cause me physical symptoms. So when I was in the ER ward again, the doctors agreed to put me back on the Cymbalta, the antidepressant, because I told, if I started again, my symptoms may probably start going away if my body gets reintroduced to the medication I had stopped, basically cold turkey. No medicine should be stopped cold turkey, because the symptoms might be very unexpected, like it happened to me. I had never thought that it could be so intense, and since they had done ultrasound on my abdomen, on my stomach, they found nothing. All my blood levels were normal, and there was no indication of an infection. So what else could have been? I was very, very sure that it was because I had stopped the medication. I was reacting so badly. As a result of that, I spent a whole week in the hospital trying to recover from that. Every day I got sedatives, I got anti-nausea medications. I was getting very weak. I tried to walk as much as I could, but I was really struggling to eat, so I had to get Nutri-Drinks and extra supplements to keep my low body weight somewhat stable. Yeah, and I was pretty discouraged during the first days, because even though I had started taking again the antidepressant, I really reluctantly want to take, but I have to, in order to become somewhat stable and avoid these withdrawal symptoms. I wasn't feeling much better, but now it has been 8 days since I started taking the medication, the Cymbalta that I had stopped, and I was planning to quit permanently. Now I can say I am feeling better. I still have nausea, I still have some heart palpitations, but I'm not tachycardic anymore. I have some muscle spasm, some mild dizziness, but I can tell that I'm getting better, and I don't think it's a coincidence, since I've been taking the Cymbalta for over a week again. So I think it's definitely a bad reaction to stopping a medication I've been taking chronically and persistently for many years. So I can tell that is definitely a strong possible cause for all of these symptoms I've been having. My stomach issues, because some days I have skipped taking. It's like with oral like contraceptive pills. If you skip the taking one day, skip one day, the effect will be less, and the efficacy will lose the medicine will lose its power. And in my case, this medicine, since it has a very short half-life, I didn't know many things about this medication until now, it can cause symptoms even within a few times frame. And I really learned it a hard way. But now, since I'm reinstating, I'm stabilizing, getting back to basically the baseline where I can eat so that I am not malnourished and I feel somewhat normal. After that, after I've reached that line, I will start very slowly and consistently decreasing the dose I'm taking right now, so that eventually I will be able to completely quit the medicine without any such harsh, aggressive withdrawal symptoms. That is my ultimate plan, and that will take a long time. Not the time that doctors tell you it will take 2 weeks or 1 month. It takes a lot longer to do that and to be effectively free from certain medication. And of course, every individual reacts differently. Some have no effects, no side effects whatsoever, but in my case, the effects were very, very detrimental, very scary. I've never in my life experienced anything like that. Just to give you reference, I can tell you that those brutal symptoms I had like a few days, a week ago, HSCT was really walk in the park for me compared to the symptoms I experienced. It sounds crazy because HSCT is not a fun thing to do. HSCT is a serious aggressive treatment, but those symptoms I had from the drug, those were insane. Antidepressants don't really make you mentally addicted, psychologically addicted, but physically they do. They can make you addicted, and when you get off of them, it's just like Russian roulette. You never know what's the outcome, and for me it was the worst outcome ever. I was even thinking about killing myself, and just for a short while, because I felt that nobody was helping me. There was nothing to help me except the sedatives, and sedatives are not great either because you get addicted to them as well, and now I'm struggling with those two. So it's just, the key is just to go slow, steadily, slowly, carefully, and don't make dramatic changes in your doses. And always, even if you get recommendations and instructions from your doctor, please do your own research as well. Don't heavily rely only on your doctor's advice, because doctors are well trained, but about medications and their interactions and side effects, there are many things that doctors possibly don't have time to research, and that's why it's very necessary that you know what you're doing and what you're taking. And there are many things that I have learned through this horrible experience of mine, and I really am aiming to become completely independent from any chemical medications, pharmaceuticals. And it is going to be a rocky, long road, but it's better to be long than short and possibly fatal, or as it was for me, horrible. Because having the nausea and all the symptoms that you have no control of, it was hell, I can tell. So yeah, now I'm just focusing not only keeping my MS stable, but also keeping my withdrawal symptoms, minimizing them by sticking to the dose I'm back on again. And after that, I am trying to start decreasing the dose slowly but steadily and very carefully, just trying to adjust and help my body to adjust the small decreases in doses I'm going to be making. So yes, that was my horrible experience. Hopefully none of you guys have had similar experience or ever will, but please be careful with antidepressants or sedatives or any kind of medications, and especially interactions. All medications, even supplements, vitamins, might have harmful side effects and interactions. So always try to take less and be drug-free as possible. Chemotherapy was a lifesaver for me, but taking medications chronically, especially for conditions that there are numerous other alternative, less harmful ways that don't even include taking something, ingesting something, and putting stuff into your system. There are therapies, there are mindfulness, there are all kinds of physical activities you can engage in. Always explore those options first before starting a possibly harmful medication. I did that mistake, but I was in a bad place at the time when I started the medication. Now I'm in a good place, a much better place, and that's why I'm really aiming to stop the medication. And I've learned my lesson. Not everybody is experiencing such harsh withdrawal symptoms or any side effects from medications as I did. Everybody is different, but that was my story, and hopefully this helps somebody. But next time I try to talk more about MS or something more positive, and hopefully I will be stable and able to talk about nicer things, something that doesn't involve medications. But till now, I'm trying to keep myself balanced and try to eat and stay healthy and live as natural as possible. So thank you for your patience and thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.